Welcome back to the deep dive. This is where we stop the noise, ditch the endless feeds, and really zoom in on the specific, crucial knowledge you need right now to understand the forces reshaping the NBA.
Exactly.
And today, we're cutting deep into a stack of sources that, they reveal so much. Organizational strategies under pressure, the blueprint for an aging superstar's success, and then the unfortunate toll of injury on a rising franchise.
That's absolutely right. Our mission for this deep dive is to take these three incredibly volatile recent events and just distill the core insights. We're looking at a contending coach's surprising actions, a road trip validation for, an iconic franchise, and then a devastating injury.
It really has been a wild week.
We're focusing on what these moments reveal about player development philosophy, asset management, and the overall resilience of these teams that are fighting for positioning in this chaotic league.
Right. We have source material covering this bizarre situation developing with one of the most high potential young wings in the league. Then a crucial East Coast road trip capping off with a dual superstar performance that offers a genuine path forward for a championship contender.
A real blueprint.
Yeah, and then sadly a brutal physical blow to a team that was just starting to feel truly dangerous.
And that volatility is the essence of the NBA season, isn't it? It's this constant cycle where established systems get tested and young talent is either, elevated or just marginalized.
For sure.
So we need to look closely at how these three specific teams, the Warriors, the Lakers, and the Magic, are navigating that chaos and what their decisions tell us about their respective timelines.
Okay, let's unpack this. Starting with the situation in the Bay Area that sent some shockwaves through the league office. We absolutely have to start with the confounding situation coming out of Golden State with Jonathan Kuminga.
Oh, it's just wild.
The Warriors just dismantled their opponent, right?
Right.
Winning 123-91, which on paper, you look at that and you think, successful night.
Oh, blowout. Everything's fine.
Exactly. But the context surrounding that box score is truly shocking. Kuminga, the former lottery pick, received a DNP did not play in that decisive victory.
And that context is the only reason this is a story. The Warriors were running extremely shorthanded.
So shorthanded.
They were missing multiple rotation pieces: Al Horford, Seth Curry, Draymond Green, and maybe most critically, Steph Curry.
Right.
They used 11 players in their rotation. 11. Stretching deep into the bench, and yet Kuminga couldn't find a single minute on the floor.
And just quickly, since they played the Bulls and they got walloped, we're not going to talk about the Bulls today, don't worry, we had enough.
No, let's not.
But let's keep the laser focus on the Warriors' internal decision-making here. Why was Kuminga, a player acquired specifically for his raw athletic tools and his potential to thrive in space, completely glued to the bench in a game desperate for minute eaters?
The fallout was immediate, and the reaction from the head coach was, surprisingly dismissive.
It really was.
When he was asked directly about it, the coach stated, all that stuff is private. He tried to just brush it off as a non-event, suggesting it happens to everybody pretty much, other than the stars.
But that just doesn't hold up.
It doesn't. When you look at the names missing, and then you look at the names who did play, like Joey Santos and Pat Spencer, the coach's justification just falls apart. This was an intentional, strategic exclusion.
And he basically admitted that, right? He openly favored those players who did get minutes.
He did.
Guy Santos, for example, played 20 minutes, put up a respectable 6 points and 7 rebounds. Pat Spencer saw time, too.
Exactly. The coach explicitly argued that he favored players like Santos and Spencer because, and this is the key phrase, they complement the Warriors' core philosophy really well.
That says everything.
It says everything. It's a clear strategic decision.
Yeah.
They're prioritizing players who immediately fit the existing system. Ball movement, predictable defense, low turnovers giving developmental reps to high potential talent whose game is, frankly, inconsistent and often isolation heavy.
So Kuminga's potential is a disruptor, but Santos's effort is a complement. And on that tight timeline, the coach chose complement.
He did.
Wait, if the coach is publicly benching him for fringe roster players, doesn't that action significantly devalue him in the eyes of a competing general manager? How do we reconcile that internal action with the external perception that Kuminga is this major asset?
That is a brilliant point, and it's the central paradox of this whole Kuminga conundrum. You would think benching a player under these circumstances would just crater their value.
Right.
However, the sources suggest the opposite. The coach's actions are simply confirming Kuminga's availability. General managers see a 21-year-old with elite athleticism who just needs a different environment.
So a team that can afford to let him make mistakes.
Exactly. A team that can afford to give him the keys and live with his mistakes. They are trading for the potential they see, not the production the Warriors are currently getting. The benching just signals that the price is right for a desperate team.
And this DNP isn't just a blip, right? It connects to a much broader and, frankly, a deeply concerning pattern regarding his usage this season.
Oh yeah, this has been brewing.
It suggests the organization has really soured on his immediate integration.
The numbers are stark. I mean, early in the season, there was an obvious attempt to elevate his role. He played over 30 minutes in 6 of the first 9 games.
That was his window.
That was the window, the opportunity to prove he had cemented his spot. But since that opening stretch, the floor time has just evaporated.
Yeah.
Completely. He hasn't touched the 30-minute mark since, and in the 7 games leading up to the DNP, he hadn't even topped 25 minutes.
So he's gone from potential starter to situational bench piece and now to DNP.
It truly feels like a repeat of last season's struggles.
Yeah.
Remember, he was dropped from the rotation entirely during the most critical parts of the postseason.
I do.
The sources continually highlight this core issue: his inability to translate that world-class athleticism into consistent, reliable production on a night-to-night basis.
And that inconsistency is the structural weakness that's driving all this trade speculation.
Of course. For a veteran team operating in a tight championship timeline, you just cannot afford rotation minutes to a player who can be brilliant one night, drop 30 and lock down the perimeter.
And then completely lost the next.
Exactly. Completely inefficient, lost defensively, or prone to bad habits the next. The Warriors need reliability, and Kuminga provides volatility.
This volatility brings us directly to the contract implications, which are maybe the most fascinating part of this saga because they reveal the financial leverage the Warriors hold.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Kuminga made a crucial and very wise decision in the offseason. He rejected the Warriors' initial qualifying offer, securing himself an extra $12 million.
Which was smart for him, personally.
Very smart personal finance. However, the deal he signed still includes a club option for the 2026-27 campaign. And this structure is so revealing.
What does it signal?
It signals that the organization does not view him as an untouchable, long-term building block. It's a conditional commitment, giving the Warriors immense financial control over the next 3 seasons, which drastically increases his trade appeal.
The moment you realize the organization views him as conditionally committed, the conversation shifts entirely from personnel management to pure asset management.
Exactly.
If the fit is problematic and the timeline is short, you have to cash in on his high perceived value across the league.
And that big perception is through the roof.
Yep.
League sources, scouts, they view Jonathan Kuminga as one of the most valuable assets in the entire NBA.
Wow.
GMs see the physical measurements, the raw talent, the favorable contract control, and they salivate. This is not just a disgruntled youngster. This is a highly liquid, highly desirable trade commodity.
So the goal becomes leveraging this asset. And the sources lay out some fascinating high-level speculation about what pairing Kuminga with another valuable young player could unlock for the Warriors' final championship push.
The immediate package that becomes financially viable is built around Kuminga and Moses Moody.
Moody's another interesting case.
Right. He's a consistent professional, makes roughly $13 million a year, but has also seen his minutes fluctuate. Kuminga's value, combined with Moody's, instantly creates a massive $37 million trade package.
$37 million, that's a huge number.
It is. It's essentially the salary of a top-tier star or a pair of high-end starters. This package allows the Warriors to consolidate 2 non-essential, albeit talented, rotation players for bona fide, proven contributors who actually fit their timeline.
Okay, let's explore those blockbuster trade possibilities because this is where the Warriors reveal their strategic philosophy moving forward. It's risk versus certainty.
Right. We can break down 3 specific plausible paths that this $37 million package could unlock.
Okay, give us the high-risk, high-reward scenario first.
That immediately targets players who need a change of scenery and offer star upside. Think Zion Williamson or Ja Morant.
Morant is a huge swing.
A huge swing. He offers elite playmaking and scoring, but comes with significant off-court risks and contractual baggage. Trading for him signals the Warriors are throwing their remaining chips into the center of the table, betting that their veteran culture can contain his volatility in exchange for guaranteed elite production.
And that package is the key to making the money work.
It is. Kuminga and Moody's $37 million is the foundation needed to absorb Morant's $35 million salary, possibly with minimal additional assets.
Okay, what about the other option? The one that maintains their core philosophy, the long-term defense-first consolidation.
That scenario aims for stability and immediate fit. The sources mention targeting players like Trey Murphy III and Herb Jones.
Two really good players.
Two excellent players. This package is more complex. You need to stretch the salary matching closer to $50 million, possibly including an expiring contract or a future pick. But the return is transformative. You get two young, long, athletic, and disciplined wings who embody the type of defense and low-maintenance offense the coaching staff desires. That trade signals the Warriors are prioritizing finding their next core of defenders, rather than banking on one individual superstar.
And finally, what's the middle ground? The move for a proven, high-level player who isn't a superstar but solves an immediate positional weakness.
That path involves targeting a proven high-usage scorer, maybe an established forward who can take over a portion of the scoring burden that Steph Curry is currently handling.
Extending Curry's window.
Exactly. Think a player like Pascal Siakam, whose salary demands a significant package. Siakam's contract fits perfectly within that $27 million window, offering immediate, consistent two-way production that fills a massive hole at the forward spot.
So that's the pure win-now move.
It confirms they're in win-now mode and are optimizing for immediate, proven chemistry over uncertain future potential.
This detailed analysis really underscores the point that Kuminga's poor play and his benching aren't necessarily dooming his value.
Not at all.
They are confirming his availability and allowing the team to monetize his potential elsewhere. It's a very harsh but ultimately practical approach to talent management on a contending team.
It absolutely is. The message from the organization is clear. Production and system fit beat unfulfilled potential. And the sheer scale of that $37 million asset package means the Warriors are a powerful, active player in the trade market right now. The Kuminga conundrum isn't a personnel headache. It's a massive, liquid financial asset waiting to be deployed.
All right, let's transition now from trade speculation to on-court execution, focusing on the Lakers' crucial 112-108 road victory over a relatively healthy 76ers team in Philadelphia. This capped off a critical 2-1 East Coast swing, giving them significant momentum and really validating their approach.
This win was so critical for morale and validation. The sources emphasize a specific, compelling statistic. The Lakers are still undefeated in clutch situations this season. They're now 7-0.
7-0.
That 100% success rate in crunch time, it speaks volumes about their veteran leadership, their discipline, and their ability to execute under pressure. They know how to close games. That's the hallmark of a contender.
And this victory featured a critical convergence of star power. We had Luka Doncic returning to the lineup after a brief personal absence.
Right.
And we saw what the radio broadcast termed a return of LeBron James to LeBronis, a phrase that I think suggests he has really found his rhythm again.
Let's start with Luka, who returned to the lineup following the birth of his second daughter. And despite the obvious fatigue, the logistical challenge of international travel to manage his family obligations, Luka delivered a classic performance.
A triple-double, right?
A triple-double. 31 points, 15 rebounds, and 11 assists on a night when he easily could have been checked out.
That is immense production, a testament to his dedication. Even if his shooting efficiency waned late in the game, which is completely understandable given the circumstances.
Completely. But his early impact was significant. He was dialed in mentally and defensively right from the jump, showing the level of commitment required even when you're physically taxed.
What did that look like?
The sources specifically highlight two major defensive plays he made in the first quarter, a crucial block or strip on a baseline shot, and remarkably, managing to break up a 4-on-1 fast break by the Sixers.
Wow.
He wasn't just scoring, he was influencing the game in transition defense, which is often the first thing to go when a player's fatigued.
But the real positive takeaway, the one that excites the Laker organization, had to be LeBron. His return to LeBronis.
Yeah.
He finished with an extremely efficient and energized stat line. 29 points on just 17 shots, which is incredible. 12 of 17, including a phenomenal 4 of 6 from 3, plus 7 rebounds and 6 assists.
That efficiency, particularly from deep, is the major signal. The radio broadcast noted his pregame warm-ups were especially lively, even mentioning him executing windmill dunks.
Which you don't see from him mid-season much anymore.
A rarity. This suggested his body was feeling much better, specifically recovering from his recent bout with sciatica. This wasn't just a statistically good game, it was aesthetically fluid. He looked comfortable, fast, and energized, which is paramount for an aging superstar.
So how did the Lakers unlock this specific, efficient version of LeBron? What was the blueprint for success that allowed him to look this effective and, crucially, look like he wasn't carrying an unsustainable physical load?
If we connect this to the bigger picture,
Right.
the blueprint is all about reducing the physical strain of oscillation creation
Right.
and maximizing his half-step advantage by getting him into space. The Lakers executed this by aggressively generating transition opportunities off defensive stops and integrating him into quick, tight half-court movements,
So pick and rolls.
specifically through two-man and three-man pick-and-roll action, often with Luka or Austin Reeves.
This approach strategically avoids the tougher, lower efficiency, stacked up one-on-one isolation plays that have visibly challenged him lately.
That's precisely it. When you force LeBron into tough ISO sets from a standstill, defenses can challenge his explosiveness off the dribble and force him into difficult jumpers. But the sources note that the Lakers' success hinges on their ability to crank up the defense and the pace, especially in their phenomenal third quarter where they outscored Philly by 10. That pace gave LeBron that crucial half-step advantage offensively.
So he's attacking a defense that's already in motion.
Exactly. He wasn't initiating the offense by generating speed from a standstill. He was utilizing the momentum of the defense and the pace of the game to attack gaps.
This sounds like a sophisticated, managed strategy for optimizing an aging superstar's talents.
Right.
It's not about making him carry the load every single possession.
Right.
It's about ensuring the possessions he does carry are high-efficiency, almost guaranteed buckets or assists.
That is exactly the goal, but I have to challenge this point. You describe this as a sustainable blueprint, but relying on a 39-year-old to crank up the pace in the third quarter, that requires elite high-intensity defense.
It does.
Isn't that just trading one physical load for another? Is this truly sustainable over a 7-game playoff series against a disciplined opponent?
This raises an important question about resource allocation. And the sources suggest the burden is being distributed specifically by an unsung performance from their front court that is dramatically changing their overall efficiency.
And allowing LeBron to conserve that energy.
Exactly. We have to talk about DeAndre Ayton.
Ayton's performance against the Sixers was immaculate. 14 points on a pristine 7-for-7 shooting, alongside 12 rebounds. He was perfect. But when you look at his season averages, the statistic becomes historically significant.
He's achieving a historically rare efficiency mark.
Indeed. Ayton is currently shooting 70% from the field on roughly 10 attempts per game. The sources specifically point out that historically, the list of players who have maintained 70% field goal percentage on 10 or more shots per game for a full season is incredibly short.
That's elite company.
It is. We are talking about a list that includes names like Wilt Chamberlain in his later years and modern dominant rim runners like Rudy Gobert or Clint Capella in their most hyper-efficient seasons. Ayton is doing this consistently, providing an enormous but very subtle benefit to the offense.
It's a low-usage, high-efficiency benefit. Those buckets are quick second-chance points or generated rapidly off-screen and rolls.
Right, they don't chew up the shot clock.
Exactly. This allows the stars to take over later in the possession or later in the game, but he's not the only center shining. Jackson Hayes, who had 3 crucial blocks, is also drawing significant praise.
Hayes' improvement is directly attributable to physical transformation and dedication. He reportedly added 20 pounds of functional muscle in the offseason.
20 pounds.
And this strength has fundamentally changed his game. It's allowing him to play significantly better by not getting pushed off his spots, maintaining better verticality on defense, which leads to those blocks, and contesting rebounds much more effectively. He is no longer a finesse player, he's a physical presence.
This raises an important question. Is the Lakers' center tandem now a hidden position of strategic strength in the league rather than just a necessary compromise?
I think it fundamentally changes their strategic calculus. The combination of Ayton's efficient finishing and Hayes' newfound size provides the Lakers with 48 minutes of physical size and strength.
So they can always stay big.
They can afford to stay big when they want to, addressing a crucial need for physical advantages they desperately needed last year, in a league that, despite the trend toward pace and space, is quietly trending back toward requiring size and physicality, especially in the playoffs. This duo is formidable.
It's a huge asset.
They are no longer forced to go small constantly. They have a deep, efficient, and versatile front court, that anchors their defense, allowing LeBron and Luka to focus their energy on offense and playmaking.
And when you have that kind of reliable interior production and defense, it just opens up the floor for LeBron and Luka to operate with that half-step advantage we talked about. It's a holistic, interdependent system.
It is.
The growth of the role players directly feeds the sustainability of the superstars. The Lakers found a way to win with efficiency, and that's a massive blueprint validated. All right, now we have to pivot to some unfortunate and sobering news out of Orlando. The Magic were just starting to feel whole again.
They really were.
Overcoming Paolo Banchero's recent absence, finding a genuine defensive identity, and then they suffered a major setback with Franz Wagner's lower leg injury during their loss to the Knicks.
It was a brutal non-contact play, though it resulted from a collision. 7 minutes into the game, Wagner was on a fast break when he collided with Ariel Huckporty. He fell awkwardly, and his left leg just hyperflexed and got trapped underneath him.
The visuals were tough. Him screaming and grabbing his leg, it was alarming for everyone watching.
It really was.
He had to be helped back to the locker room, putting absolutely no weight on the leg. And as of the reporting in the sources, the prognosis remains a frightening unknown, which leaves the Magic in this terrible holding pattern.
And that uncertainty is what makes the situation so serious for the team's aspirations. Without an official diagnosis, we have to consider the potential timeline. A hypoflexion injury combined with that immediate pain usually suggests significant damage.
So what's the best case here?
The best-case scenario mentioned in the sources involves strained ligaments and a deep bone bruise, which still means 3 to 6 weeks on the sideline. But the reality is that the Magic will likely be without their co-star for several weeks, if not a month, or potentially several months, if there's any serious tear or fracture.
And the timing is just devastating. The sources describe this as a humongous loss, especially because Paolo Banchero is still working his way back into rhythm after his own absence.
Right, the team hasn't truly gotten a chance to play at full sustained power this season.
We have to quantify exactly what the Magic lose in Wagner because his role is so much more than just simple scoring volume. He is absolutely central to their offensive identity.
Their engine.
He is. Entering Sunday's game, a massive 52% of his 23.4 points per game were scored in the paint. He is a demon at getting downhill, constantly forcing contact, creating fouls, and generating those interior opportunities.
And the immediate impact on their strategy was so evident in that Knicks game. With Wagner out, the Magic only scored 42 points in the paint.
Their second fewest this season.
They completely went away from their identity, and that forced them into desperation mode. The loss of that downhill threat led them to resort to a season-high 42 three-point attempts.
And they only made, what, 28%?
A dismal 28%. That is a textbook example of a team losing its offensive structure and just settling for jumpers, the antithesis of their winning formula.
This is why I agree that this injury is a major test of the Magic's culture and identity. The margin for error has suddenly become microscopic.
It has, but the sources are also clear. This team is still plenty capable of succeeding and competing for home court advantage. They proved they could survive Banchero's absence earlier in the year, right? They had a resilient 7-3 record in those 10 games. They have internal resilience.
So the immediate mandate is not to reinvent themselves, but to double down on the original formula that brought them success, even without their engine.
Precisely. Their formula for winning is simple. They have to commit to their identity, getting downhill to the paint, generating contact, and using their already top 10 defense to create offense. They cannot afford to settle for those 42 three-point attempts a night.
They need to find other guys who can force that action.
Multiple players. And this brings us directly to Paolo Banchero. He's the undisputed franchise player, but he's still trying to find his legs. Against the Knicks, he still looked rough.
Yeah, 16 points on 4 of 11 shooting, a lot of settling.
And here is the necessary, often brutal irony of the situation. Wagner's injury forces Banchero to step up and be the dude immediately.
All right.
No longer can he simply try to fit back in while regaining his rhythm. He has to be the primary leader, the primary scorer, and the primary facilitator starting now. This sudden forced elevation and responsibility may, counterintuitively, speed up his return to full competitive speed. He has to take ownership.
What does that ownership look like specifically, though? What tactical adjustments do they need to make to ensure Banchero stops settling and starts attacking downhill like Wagner does?
The sources suggest they need to simplify his decision-making early in the shot clock, run more European-style pick-and-roll where Banchero is the primary ball handler, forcing a defensive switch or gap, giving him a clean lane to the basket,
Get him moving downhill early.
and emphasize his low post game. Banchero is big enough to operate on the block or elbow against most wings. Using specific post-up moves early in games will reset his rhythm and force the defense to load up, which then opens up shooters. He needs to replace Wagner's 52% interior scoring contribution.
And who takes on Wagner's crucial defensive assignment? He's often guarding the opponent's best perimeter player. That's a massive burden shift.
The burden likely shifts between Jalen Suggs and Anthony Black, depending on the opponent's profile. Suggs is a ferocious point-of-attack defender, but he can get worn down if he's constantly guarding the opponent's top offensive wing. Black, with his size and length, is the more direct replacement for Wagner's versatility in defending larger wings. This forces the entire team to be disciplined rotationally. They need to rely on their defensive cohesion, which they are good at, to absorb the loss of Wagner's elite individual defense.
They have to be perfect on closeouts and rebounding.
Absolutely. The sources mention players like Suggs, Desmond Bane, and Anthony Black are all capable of popping off for 20 points. But they need Banchero to consistently provide that 20-plus points and high-level leadership.
And consistency is the current weak spot across the board. Even their bench players who stepped up during the last star absence, like Anthony Black, who took a mini leap, have shown recent inconsistency. Black was, 1 for 7 from 3 against the Knicks?
He was. Everyone needs to perform their roles better, focusing intensely on attacking and getting downhill, even without Wagner. The mandate is clear. Get to the free throw line, play top-tier defense, and force pace.
On a positive logistical note, if we look at the schedule, there is a glimmer of hope that prevents this injury from completely derailing their season.
It does, if Wagner does in fact miss 4 to 6 weeks. The timing is strangely favorable. They have their NBA Cup obligations and an upcoming West Coast trip. That will be tough.
After that.
But following that, the schedule lightens up a ton. This provides the best possible stretch for them to rely on their defense and their internal developmental guys to stay in the race and avoid plummeting in the standings until their co-star returns.
So they just need to survive this period and not thrive.
Exactly. Consistency will be the absolute key to survival.
This injury is the ultimate test of their depth, their coach's ability to adjust the offense, and their overall team identity. They've proven they can play good basketball when shorthanded, but this time they've lost the engine that drives their offensive philosophy. It demands immediate evolution from Banchero and perfect execution from everyone else. We've covered a tremendous amount of ground today, from players sitting down and becoming financial assets, to a superstar finding a sustainable blueprint for longevity, and a rising team facing a catastrophic test of culture and identity.
The implications of all these stories really boil down to value assessment and the ability to adapt. What is the true value of a player potential versus production, and how quickly can an organization pivot when its core identity is challenged?
So here's a final provocative thought for you to mull over. Considering Jonathan Kuminga's immense high-value potential and his current benching for role players, what player archetype, the high-potential, high-value asset, or the reliable, complementary role player who fits the coach's system perfectly, do you prioritize if you're building a sustainable contender? Should you maximize asset value for a blockbuster trade, or maximize immediate fit and consistency to secure a guaranteed playoff spot?
That's the question that keeps every general manager up at night. The answer usually determines whether a team wins a title or merely competes.
That's the challenge for you to weigh, and we want to know what you think. Head over to the comments to tell us if you prioritize potential or reliable production. That's all for this deep dive. Thank you for listening. Please comment, like, subscribe if you're on YouTube. Spotify, please leave 5-star review. It will help the channel grow. Until next time, please check our previous episodes.